Hey, if Yomi's so good, why isn't there a Oh, That's right. Yomi 2 is out in early access on Steam today. Right now, even. It'll be out any minute on Epic Game Store too. I'll have links to both in the video description. So while there's a core of similarities between the two games, a lot has changed from the original. So I figured it'd be cool to go over some of the most exciting system changes and what effect they have on the feel and flow of the game. So, fair warning, I'm not going to explain these in like a helpful order, like what I do if I was teaching someone how to play. The game has a really good tutorial that'll do that stuff for you. No, I started playtesting this game 3 years ago, and I haven't been able to gush about it until now. So you're gonna have to drink from the fire hose, I'm afraid. There's lows and overheads now, not just when you're knocked down either, just like all the time. Like every character has some mix of normal attacks that have to be blocked low or high, and it's probably one of my favorite things about this game. Blocking feels much scarier than it did before when you mostly just had to worry about throws. Taking someone's head off with a slow ass overhead in neutral feels so damn satisfying. And ditto for slipping a cheeky little shot at their shins while they're guarding their face. Somebody tied Zane to a chair and beat the stuffing out of him until he gave up the secret to his award-winning barbecue wings. Everybody gets seriously nasty pressure if they knock you down because all of their attacks and throws get sped up so that only reversal speeds can beat them. Combined with high and low attacks, it is seriously scary to get knocked down in Yomi 2. Successfully navigating your way out of knockdown will make you feel like the smartest person on the planet. Somebody tied Rook to a chair and beat the grouting out of him until he gave up the secret to his award-winning, entangling vines? Anyway, there's this thing called the edge now that some characters can do if their attacks hit or get blocked, where next turn their attacks and throws will be faster than normal. So now maybe that lumbering overhead that your opponent could safely beat with a jab just runs the field unless they use a reversal speed move. But if they do, one of the safest things you could do in original Yomi was play a reversal with a Joker backing it up. You'd beat most or all of your opponent's attacks and their throws, and if they dodged it, you had the Joker for Blue Burst to prevent any damage, and if they blocked it, boo-hoo, they get a card, but at least you were safe. Not anymore. A lot of reversals are now unsafe on block. If you block them, you get to pretend like you dodged them instead. You can hit back with any single move in your hand. Oh, and you still get to draw a card from blocking, and you keep the block. And yeah, any single move. But I can still Joker, right?
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
That's right, Jokers are gone, baby! Valerie gets to be a real character! Isn't that right, Valerie? Oh, she's so excited. That's adorable. Well, okay. Only the blue burst part of Jokers is actually gone. So instead of Jokers, you have a burst card, literally called a burst. That's a special attack you can play in combat as a reversal that does 1 point of damage and something cool, like draw 2 cards, or make your opponent discard cards, or knock down your opponent, or a bunch of other stuff. So what determines what your burst does? So whenever you pick a character, you also pick a gem. Each gem has a unique theme. It determines what additional effect your burst has and adds cool special moves and a special ability card to your deck. There's 6 gems in all, and every gem character combination is going to impact how your character plays in different matchups and situations. It also gives you access to a nasty once per game power-up called a Gemstorm that your opponent just has to deal with. Like the green Gemstorm means that for 2 turns, you can play your supers without paying any meter for them.
Dragon Hard!
That's right, super meter. If you want to play a super, you have to be able to pay for it. Some cost 1, some cost 2, and the biggest and baddest cost 3. No more silent max anarchy or true power of storms. One copy of each super starts in your discard, so you can get access to it via power-ups without being at the mercy of draw RNG. So like in the original Yomi, you can get meter by hitting normal chains and powering up, though you can only power up on your turn. Yeah, Yomi has turns now. So player 1 is randomly determined at the start of each game, and they take a full turn. They draw 2 cards, they get to do various pre-combat actions, and then they play their combat card, and player 2 plays theirs. Once combat is resolved, player 2 gets to take a turn. They draw 2 cards and do their pre-combat stuff, and then they play their combat card, etc. And it just flows back and forth like that. It feels a little weird at first, but it completely eliminates the thing in original Yomi where you'd have to do the like, okay, I don't do any abilities. Do you want to do anything? Oh, you do. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Okay, now that you've done that, I actually do want to do an ability, back and forth stuff. It's really nice. Things just flow much more smoothly. Another cool thing about it is that speed ties are resolved in favor of whoever's turn it is. So if you both play equally fast attacks, whoever's turn it is, their attack wins. It's neat. It sounds like a small thing, but it can have a really dramatic, like, ebb and flow effect. Speaking of ebbing and flowing, I don't have a good segue into the next thing. On your turn, one of the pre-combat actions you can take is to exchange a card from your hand with a card from your discard, so long as both of those cards are exchangeable. It's hard to put into words just how critical this system is, how important and central it is to how the game works. You will curse certain cards for not being exchangeable. You will weep that you can't exchange more than once per turn, or the fact that you can't do it on your opponent's turn at all. You'll chuckle sinister chuckles as you get back your overhead while your knocked down opponent watches helplessly. Oh, yes, I had noticed that your high block was in your discard, Jeremy. Sure would be a shame if I could exchange this mid for an unblockable. Anyway, yeah, Yomi 2. It's out in early access now. The game is awesome. It's much scarier of a game in a lot of ways than Yomi 1. Blocking isn't as strong this time around, and reversals aren't as safe. No jokers means every combo is guaranteed damage. It's really hard to manage your limited options in Super Meter to effectively pressure your opponent or defend yourself over 2 turns. Because remember, you can't exchange with your discard, power up, or use abilities when it's not your turn. It's a really interesting puzzle to have to solve. You have way more power to manage your options in Yomi 2, but also way more options you have to manage. So when you pull something off, it feels really satisfying. Especially when you're just starting out, it can feel like you're always in danger, like you're always about to get exploded. There's much less block, 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 block than in the original Yomi, but in a good way. Like a lot of the empty turns got cut out, so you're just left with the meaty, spooky, exciting stuff. Like original Yomi is an F1 race, and Yomi 2 is an F1 race, but they also gave everyone a sword. Go check it out. It's cool as hell. Oh god, I didn't even talk about fireballs.